I've learned to be responsible with my actions, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man of consequences. You know, I make my bed, I'ma lie in it.
Finding how to direct their anger means, one, let their anger live. Anger has its place too. Anger is what motivates people to change.
Tell me about your goals. You're young, you're 20 years old, you have a child. Tell me about your goals and how you're gonna get it.
What I want to see happen is the kids take that energy and do something positive, whether it be football, sports, giving back, think about it, and apply pressure to it.
Guys that come home with those stories, they're not going to be honest and say that they correct.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Hey, welcome to your journey. I am your host, DG. We're gonna be all over the place today. Come hang out with me. You ready? Let's go. Decisions. You're gonna have to figure out what kind of man you wanna be, what kind of person you wanna be. Good behavior doesn't just happen. Good behavior is practiced until it is perfected. Good behavior is practiced until it is second nature. It's within your power to be the man you want to be.
Welcome to Chicago. So here at National Airport, there has been a 1 hour time change. Local time here is 5:56. For your continued safety as well as safety of those around you, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened. Your carry-on belongings stowed until the aircraft has come to a complete and final stop.
This is Highland Park, Michigan, otherwise known as the heart of Detroit.
We love Detroit. We love everywhere. But it starts in Detroit because we live in Detroit.
Right now, we right here at the bottom of Cherry Hill. We call it Southland or Harbor Hospital, Baltimore, Maryland.
From East Baltimore, I originally was raised up in the Patrol Projects.
Right now, I am in Cumberland, Maryland, in North Branch Correctional Institution.
At Morehouse College, I'm a sophomore biology major.
They say gangster. Tell me how you do it. I get through it, and them other do it. I keep my eyes on the prize, then pursue it. Chase it like a cheetah, choke it out and subdue it. Self-educate, Ice Cube.
You know, I had to create a blueprint for myself, man. What I wanted to do, a 5-year plan. Just as, you know what I mean, you do in the streets, you know, you graduate college. Everybody should have a 5-year plan, man. You know, it starts from high school. You know, when you get in 11th grade, you should have a 5-year plan.
Very, very simple formula.
Okay.
And that is education or skill. Not saying that everybody has to have a college education, but everybody should nowadays strive, number one, to finish high school, and number two, to get a skill. So that whether you finish high school or not, that you have some certifiable skill that will allow you to be able to be competitive in the job market.
It's never too late. How old were you when you started to run the streets or break law?
13.
What did you start off doing?
Drinking.
Drink?
Yeah, drinking, then smoking.
Smoking what?
Weed.
At 13?
Yeah. Most of us dropped out at 14, 15, 13. Most of us. I dropped out at 15.
What grade were you in?
A month and a half into the 10th grade.
Get in the year you quit?
Well, I got put out.
What did you get put out of high school for?
Gun.
You caught the charge?
Yeah. So that was my second felony by the time I was 15.
My plan in life is, even though I was a dropout in the 11th grade, my plan is to go back, get my GED. I want to go back to college and take construction blueprinting.
My process started, 3 years before I even came home. Like I said, I did a 4-year degree plan when I was in prison. I put forth effort for my higher learning experiences. I obtained a secondary bachelor degree and went on to obtain my master's. I'm also in a second master's program right now as we speak, and that's urban education.
The younger you start, the better off you will be.
Young men should probably start, I always say, around 9 years old. When you're about 9 years old, as a young man in the urban setting, you gotta have your game plan. And that doesn't necessarily mean knowing what career you're gonna have, where you're gonna work per se, but you definitely have to start looking for what type of life you wanna live. When you're 9 years old, you ain't but 4 years from puberty. And And that's when all kind of things start happening. You know, you start interacting with young girls. Society sees you as old enough to be charged as an adult. And you start feeling the economic crunch, you know, early teens. So to start at 9 years old, I think is the best way to go, because starting at that age, you got a head start. You know, if you start talking about these issues when you're 14 or 13, you behind the ball, you know, because you automatically feeling the economic pressures. You automatically, more than likely, them been harassed by police. More than likely, them bumped head with your teacher. So now you just reacting to something that's already happened.
It's never too early to start.
Okay, so for the middle schoolers and high schoolers, basically taking the opportunity to use your summers as a resourceful time. I had the opportunity, this was at the age of 14, had the opportunity to go into operating rooms to witness an open brain surgery. Like, to really, like, sit there and, like, if I wanted to, which I would, I would be able to, like, really touch the patient or touch the brain. Like, I was literally, like, in the room. So just basically just doing different things whenever you had the opportunity to do it, and don't be afraid to ask for help, meet new people, make friends, connections. And the year 2020, I want to go out to medical school, maybe somewhere in Maryland, might stay in Atlanta or go to California. I want to become a trauma surgeon, or either right now I'm leaning more towards trauma surgeon. Gunshot victims, car crashes, stab wounds, anything that's basically traumatic to someone's life.
Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. Muhammad Ali.
You need to understand that your education is completely on you. I don't care if you're 30 years old on a 5th grade reading level. That just means you need to get into an adult education class or pick up a book and read every day until your reading skills are where they're supposed to be. I don't care if you're going to a failing school. That just means that you need to keep doing what you're supposed to do and keep pushing so you're prepared for the next level. You don't let anyone dictate your education or your education level. It is completely up to you. Always focus on your goals. Always focus on your next step. Education is the great equalizer. Knowledge itself is power, and only the educated are free.
Okay, let's talk about anger management. Controlling yourself. Controlling your emotions, your behavior. Guess who that's on? That's completely on you. It's not about who said something to you wrong. It's not about who bumped into you. It's not about you having a bad day. You control you. The sooner you figure that out, the easier life will be. I promise you. You control you.
Yeah, you know, anger definitely plays a major point. You know, coming up on this block, it's like any young bro, I had my bouts of anger. In fact, I had to go through a lot of anger management. A lot of youngsters, they wake up into a house that's full of rage, getting cussed out, not enough food, water cut off, heat cut off, and so they walk out the house with that rage. No real way of expressing or exercising that anger. That momentary moment of anger caused them to make decisions that wasn't smart. That anger, as we know, it short circuits the long-term thinking. The brain doesn't operate well in anger or extreme emotion. So because of that, sometimes the best people get caught up in that cycle of anger, make bad decisions, and then they end up having to pay for it the hard way.
Based on that, I was one of those destructive young youth myself. Currently this year right here makes 20 years I've been in prison. So I'm 36, so I come in when I was 16.
That's hard, bro. You became a man behind bars. That's serious.
Exactly, and a lot of the youth and a lot of the youth today don't realize, unbeknownst to them, is that it's a sale for them regardless of the fact of them being a juvenile. So, right before I even experienced my 17th birthday, I was in a situation where it was the possibility of a death sentence, but they couldn't apply because of my age, so the next best choice was natural life without parole, you know? So a lot of these young guys now need to really sit back and take account of themselves and realize that it's a serious matter because they are sales. And like the brother made mention of, a person can't really ponder on how it will feel to be locked literally in your room for 23 hours a day with only 1 hour to come out to stretch your legs.
Dealing with anger management, man, that's a lifelong commitment. That's not an overnight thing, man. But now I'm dealing with conflict resolution skills. Things that's not worthy for my temper to explode, then I try to give it less power as possible. And we gotta think about what we have to lose. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of times we put so much emphasis in thinking about, the response. You know what I'm saying? It's a cause and effect thing. We don't never think about, so if I act in this manner, what is the consequences of my actions? Your consequences is always when a nigga in the back of the paddy wagon trying to get some rum in his handcuffs and you looking like, dang it, I could have did this, opposed to having myself sitting in, central booking or anywhere else, man, of that nature, causing my family more, more pain than
attempt murder. And I got charged with possession of a deadly weapon. They charged me as an adult at the time, and I did actually 2 months over the central bookings, and I did
Was that with adults?
Yes, that was with adults, as I was 13 years old.
Your responsibility doesn't change because you have an attitude, because you feel disrespected by another man. Your responsibility don't change when you go home without your job, but bills are already late. You bite your tongue. You eat your ego to feed your children. You understand? No questions asked. You bite your tongue and you eat your ego to feed the babies, to keep the home, to keep the quality of living, and just to keep your sanity. Believe what I tell you. It all matters. You gonna learn sooner or you gonna learn later.
When it comes to anger, the best way I found just coming up to deal with it, of course, and it sounds cliche, is to find an outlet. And one thing about the block is not a lot of outlets. You may have a court or something to play, a park to go up to.
What relaxes you? What do you enjoy doing?
The actual object of racing business is to release them from anywhere from 100 to 600 miles, and they actually have to come back home as fast as they can get here.
Right.
And by them being in competition with other people, it's only going to be one bird that wins.
Right.
But according to the speed that the bird makes, that's how he wins. Measurements and wherever they live is different.
Right.
And so it's not how far they flew, it's how fast
they got there.
They got there. A high speed in which last week they had a 400-mile race, and they made something like 1,800 yards per minute. But there have been birds that have flown over 2,000 yards per minute.
2,000.
They can get up there.
That's 20 football fields. A minute?
Right, a minute. I mean, they can get over 70 miles an hour.
Wow.
Depending on a tailwind.
Right.
My cousin, he had fancy birds. And so these birds were actually, bred for show, for looks, performance. They did tricks, like rollers, tipplers, tumbers. And I think everybody in East Baltimore at that time had a backyard, and they had a pigeon coop. They call it a pigeon coop.
Right.
And they used to make them out of all types of wood, and which mine was made out of fish boxes.
How old were you when you started?
When I started when I was 12. Being interested in birds. The main objective is seeing something that actually developed from an egg. And that concept alone where you're bringing something into a condition where it can actually perform. You know, that's the enjoyment I get. I don't necessarily have to win. I just want to see them come home, you know, from a distance. They come home from anywhere from 100, 500 miles in a day.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
You know, that's a big deal. They come home and it's time. You know what I mean? They can beat everybody. You know, when you win a trophy, you know, this is the joy. You know what I mean? That's something that you raised yourself. And it actually accomplished, you know, the things that you wanted to do. You know, and see, that's the enjoyment, you know, that I get out of it. Being competitive, you know, being consistent, and getting that accomplishment, you know what I mean, what you started out to do. I mean, that's anything. You know, put the right foot forward. You know what I mean? And set a goal for yourself. You know what I mean? And then when you accomplish that goal, I mean, how good can you feel?
Old school rides. We out here with my man hanging out in his yard where he like to work on cars. He got a couple old schools in the yard. Let him know what old schools you got in the yard.
Got the 80 El Camino right here, man. You know, very rare car, single headlight. You know, you don't see too many of them around. Then I got me an 86 Cutlass Salon right there. You don't see too many of them around, period. Had a good running mode. Got a good running mode in it. Good running transmission and good rear. But the car itself, I had to put floors in it, carpet, door panel, steering column, steering wheel, window sweeps, weather strippings, wheels, tires, suspension parts.
So far, how long you been working on this car?
Since April of last year. So that's what, 17, 18 months?
17, 18, and it's still not done.
Oh no.
The greatest thing to me that makes me feel like it's not even about the money is the fact a kid can come in here and be safe and can go home and be wanting to come back the next day. It's something inside me that makes me feel like I can go to sleep at night knowing I've done a great thing today.
What's the difference between Detroit and Highland Park, and what is Highland Park known for?
Highland Park was considered, once upon a time, as crazy as it sounds, a suburb of Detroit. Believe it or not, this city was once known as one of the best places in America to live. The big difference is just primarily that. The people are the same, and we sit in the center of Detroit. So we always move back and forth between Detroit and Highland Park. It's one and the same.
Let me say this to you. Let me actually be real and be practical. And I've said this a million times. Whether you stopped in the car, whether you stopped in the street, or whether they knock on your door, they got the gun, they got the badge, they got the mace, they got the taser, they have everything. The citizen has nothing. And so on the street, in your car, the advice I give to people is that, hey, you cannot contest on the street. It's an argument that you can't win. Even when you say, give me your badge number, or let me take a picture of what's happening, you automatically then subjected to police brutality yourself. The only way you can in fact challenge anything is after the proceedings or after whatever the event is that takes place, that you memorize the name or you memorize the badge number and that you seek counsel afterwards.
Your words have power. Understand that the power of words. And that's another important thing I always teach young bros and young people in general, is that your words, you know, sometimes they'll say, yeah, what's going on? I mean, nothing, you know. No, we don't know what's going on. And being able to articulate what's real. Tone, tact, and time. I don't appreciate the way you talk to me. Or I don't appreciate your tone. Tone, tact, and time. You know, sometimes when you're angry, it's the tone that you express yourself in. It's the tact. It's the way you say it and when you say it to the person. And it's the timing. Sometimes you can say the right thing at the wrong time. And those three principles are so important.
Once you get to Morehouse College campus and you go through, and that's so weak. That's basically you getting adjusted to the Morehouse life and taking your first step into eventually becoming a Morehouse man. So after you graduate from Morehouse College, you'll be considered a man of Morehouse. While you're here at Morehouse, you are a Morehouse man. So with that being said, we greet each other by brother, young man, sir. We don't use the N-word. We don't call each other bees or yo and things like that. So saying young man gives everyone else the look that we have for one another and that we do view ourselves as Black kings in a sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Memphis. For your safety, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened, leaving all your personal items secured. Please keep the aisle clear until the fasten seatbelt sign has been turned off or parked at the gate area. Please be careful opening the overhead bins as items may have shifted. And before you leave the aircraft, please ensure you have all your belongings with you. You may now use your cellular phone.
Now, college isn't for everyone. Trade school. You have to do something after school, after your GED or high school, to be able to live halfway decent. Construction is a wonderful trade. A wonderful trade. So many different trades with construction. There's always going to be construction. Always. Are you nice with your hands? Do you think about putting things together? Is that interest you? Then go to trade school. Get your skill and grind it out.
Hold on, DG, hold on. I see some of your audience members acting like school ain't the place to be. Well, let me run a couple things by 'em. Check this out, gentlemen. They call me the angry black dude. Yeah. So, let me run some numbers by you. 68% of all prisoners don't have a high school diploma. Do not have a high school diploma. In some states, they spend up to $62,000 per prisoner versus only $9,200 per student. You know what that means in those states and in this country? They're investing in their future, their prison population future. They call that the school to prison pipeline. You understand what I'm saying? Why? Why do you think they make money in prisons? Well, let me tell you about some of the jobs prisoners have. They fight forest fires, making a whole $1.60 a day. Yeah, they make dentures. They actually do books for the blind. Yeah, they get trained in reading Braille, and then they publish the books, and then the publishing companies sell them for a wonderful rate. They on plantations, corn, soybeans, and of course, cotton. That's what prisoners are doing. They're modern day slaves. Office furniture, Mickey D's uniforms, things of that nature. Remember, school to prison pipeline. If you don't want a high school diploma, you don't have to get a high school diploma. But for-profit prison system is betting on you not getting a high school diploma. And that's just the start, gentlemen. That's the start. You need a skill after that. Think about that. Go ahead, holler back at him, D.
Streets, life, court, prison. This ain't the life for me, but your boy gotta get it. Streets, life, court, prison. This ain't the life for me, but your boy gotta get it. Streets, life, court, prison. This ain't the life for me, but your boy gotta get it. A lot of niggas in jail facing badass charges for trying to make a way, but the prosecutors say we heartless. Every day I pray they have mercy while judging me. The only thing I could think is I would still switch me seats. See the streets through the eyes of a hustler, yeah, G, so they can get insight on the menace they claim is me. In my crib, lights was our plus, no he in, there's nothing to eat. Only question I ask is, what would you do if you was me? Would you sit in that house with no food, no lights, and no heat? Or would you turn to the streets and risk it all just to eat so your family could be at peace? Nah, they telling me 15 years before I hit the street. How the f you think I feel or my family feel for me? I look back in the courtroom, see them falling all in they seat. Hoping y'all let me free, but y'all throwing me underneath. Being away from my family this long, this gon' kill me. Seeing my family cry break me down like a Swisher Sweet. Streets, life, court, prison, this ain't the life for me, but your boy gotta get it. Streets, life, court, prison, this ain't the life for me, but I gotta get it. Streets, life, court, prison, this ain't the life for me, but your boy gotta get it.
These are the realities of prison.
He'll play his TV loud. He'll play his Xbox or his PlayStation loud while you trying to get some sleep. You wake up in the morning trying to clean the cell and rattling around when you trying to get some sleep and you can't go out until 11:30. So it's pretty false line. So you either gonna fight or ignore it. And the more you ignore it, the more he's gonna do it because he had no respect for you, right? And there's so many murders that happen in prison these days because of that 23-1. Nowhere to go. When someone adopts you in, when somebody makes you angry, when you get angry, you got to lash out. There's nowhere to go. And someone attacks you, you got to defend yourself. And it happens like that because that's the only way sometimes that you can get out of the cell is to fight your cell partner. And then they separate you and move you from another cell. After they put you on segregation 24/7 for 6 months. You come back out, they might give you another cell partner. 6 months. That's small time. The longer you stay in prison, the more you lose. Loved ones pass, children die, family members, parents and stuff, they die, they go crazy, they get elderly, and they can't come visit or things like this nature. It's well. It's a question sometimes people ask, well, how have you done all this time? I don't have a choice not to do the time. I wake up every morning. I better wake up every morning on point, aware, conscious, and feeling strong because you fall weak, you get victimized.
All together, man, I've been incarcerated for 11 years now. I got locked up when I was 19 years old, going on 20. I was convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life plus 15 years. That's the sentence I'm serving right now. I'm in a maximum security prison, man, maximum 2 prison, hard prison, tough prison. And we're in the day room right now. Man, we crammed in here like sardines. About 60 people in here. The day room ain't no bigger than probably like a half court on a basketball court, like a half court. You got like 1 TV, 1 microwave, and only 8 phones. So you figure, feel me? You got an hour out here, 8 phones. Only really 16 people gonna get on the phone because they been half-hour clips. So feel me? It's like a half-hour ride. It's only 4 tables to sit down at, so it's only 16 seats. So you know what I mean? Like so, everybody's really standing up. 8 people at a time for 15-minute showers. So, you do the math on that. Hey, somebody ain't gonna eat, somebody ain't gonna get on the phone, somebody ain't gonna get some ice, a lot of people gonna be left out, you feel me? So, it's like survival of the fittest for real.
A person that's not psychologically fit, this may really break him. Not just the fact of being in prison, but being in prison while in prison. Because that's pretty much what it is.
No, but I'm gonna say this because I ain't got time, right? But not much time.
Go ahead.
Look, the warning is this. Do not come here. Young men, young women, do not come to prison. It ain't what you think it is. It's not a place to hang out in, have fun. Whatever you can do in prison you think you can do it out there as a free person. This is not a place. It might cost you your life, your sanity, and it's going to cost you years that you can never get back. So, thank you. Use common sense. Don't bow to peer pressure. At all costs, stay away from that court system, that justice system. The point is this, every day. This can go from 0 to 120 miles an hour at a blink of an eye. I mean, a riot, a stabbing, a murder, a beatdown, officer friends, mates, and young men, young women do not come to prison at all costs. You don't have no business here. See, you don't know this plan for you. At any given hour, any given day, there's 28,000 inmates in this DOC Maryland system. 28,000. Y'all in Baltimore City know that they built 2 juvenile centers at $100 million a piece, 1 for females and 1 for males. You targeted.
That's
You're
right.
They already got your life. They already got your life measured, and you ain't bound to exist if you win by surviving it all. That's what it is, a win for you. But the system is already stacked against you. They got the crosshairs. They aiming at your back. They ready to take your life. They ready to separate you from your family. They don't care nothing about no compassion or I'm sorry, remorse, nothing. Stay away from this system. Stay away from prison. Think. Use common sense. Don't follow nobody. Be your own person. Take control. Keep control of your life, because once you lose it in here, some don't make it out. Please, some don't make it out.
Prison isn't the only downside to running the streets. You also have death. I like to call that the hole. I call it the hole because you can't be replaced. It's only one you. You're very unique to your family, to your friends, and to this world. And then imagine this. Imagine your little brother or sister walking past where you were murdered for the rest of their life. Just walking to the corner store or walking to school. Imagine your mother having to walk past where her child was murdered for the rest of her life. How would that feel? How does it feel? Going out like a so-called soldier has horrible consequences for the loved ones and the family members that man leaves behind. Think about it. The whole.
I look at where I'm at today and realize that most of my success is owed to the mentors that was in my life. Kendrick Lamar.
We talk a lot about the lack of black males, but it's black males all around. It's responsible black males all around. They're not popular, because they ain't popping that weekend, you know what I'm saying? But it's responsible black males all around. So I learned coming up to soak it up from elders.
I remember guys like Charlie Harrison. I remember guys like Mr. Robinson, guys like Rodell, guys like Sylvester Banks. I remember these guys. These guys I came up under, man, that taught me the right way. So it's just like history repeating itself. When I was that little guy coming to the gym, wasn't the best player, but they always kept me around. Started coaching little guys, man, when I was about 13 to 14 years old. Now, me at 38 years old now, I come into this gym. What I bring to the gym is the mentorship that I have, that I can walk in here and you got kids that's coming from everywhere. Broken homes, sad, don't know what's going on. All they want to do is just like their outlet. I come in here, I can put teams together, I can sit kids down, I can talk to them, and they can understand.
The Band of Brothers is a group of men that are into action. We decided to be a group that every time somebody needs something of action, anytime they need brothers to stand in the gap, call on us. When something happens, we're going to be there. Today, we are doing a cookout with Band of Brothers partnered with the One More, One Less mentoring program. Free cookout for everybody in the neighborhood. This is what it is now. We got all these kids here. Hopefully the mentoring program is going to be really successful with all the kids in this area. And it's just a beautiful thing. So one of the main things that we want to get back to is when we grew up and we were able to just come outside and just be kids. We ain't have to worry about gunfire. We ain't have to worry about somebody snatching us up. We ain't have to worry about all that because we had people that protect us in the neighborhood, even if it wasn't our parents.
as the same respect as we do the guys. You know, we can't lead them out because one day they're going to be growing up to be young ladies, they're going to be mothers, you know, they're going to be grandmothers.
Okay, gentlemen, let's talk about responsibilities. Responsibilities to the females in your family, the females in your life. If you're not there, they're vulnerable to everything and everyone in society. Rapes, murders, robberies, you're supposed to be there. But if you out ripping and running, if you out doing time, if you out not being concerned with your loved ones, any and everything can happen to them. And let's talk about what you'll do if something happens to them. It doesn't matter. It's too late. It's too late. Your responsibility was to stop what happened to them. Going to do something to somebody else after it happened, the lady in your life still has to deal with whatever happened to her. It's time to step up. No questions asked. Be there. You have to be there. Every day, you have to be there. You are the protector. Mothers, sisters, daughters, aunts, cousins, friends. When other men see you in their life constantly and the kind of man you are, all the nonsense will stop or just not come around at all. Oh, that's your cousin? Oh, okay. And they act according to how you act.
Protect women. Open doors for women. Right. To speak softly for women. Right. To call them the name their mama gave them.
In nature, the male does what he has to do, and then through his prowess of being a male, that's how you attract women. So I talk to young men, life ain't about the pursuit of it. I teach them that, you know, a strong young man is a rare commodity, and you ain't got to chase or do nothing to impress him. You know what I'm saying? Besides being your own strong self. Also understanding that your role in society is as a nurturer and protector. You know, you should never feel comfortable accepting protection and nurturing from the women in our community.
Careful women.
And ask your postal carrier.
If somebody's in your house, when you're pulling up, I don't care if it's in the morning, high noon, or at night, you need to call them and they need to get up and come open the door for you. And any lazy son, grandson, nephew, godson, biological son, whatever, that don't want to get his you-know-what up to come open the door for you, he's probably living in the wrong house. I mean, that's how I see it. You call me and I can't get up and come open the door and make sure nobody busts you in the head, you know, I need to move.
Now, when you're a young man, you court. You meeting young ladies, you taking them out, you getting to know them, but don't play house with them. You know, don't be 17 talking about I'm gonna move in with her. Your first priority should be having your own space. You know what I'm saying? Having your own economics, your own social circle. And then you can start, then when you talk about getting with a lady, you talking about something serious. Which I don't say nothing wrong with it. Be for real about it. You just happen to be around, you know, we getting it in, and this my woman. That ain't enough criteria, G. You don't have to have a chick on your side to be straight. You can be all right by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can be courting young ladies and have young ladies in your life, but they ain't got to be near you all the time. The biggest downfall often comes from the pursuit of wanting to be or impress women. Whether it's my man who extra flossy, who want to try to embarrass the cat that don't have nothing, or the cat that got a little money, that want to pay for his affection or trick it off, overpriced vehicles just to get that affection. You know, we got to teach young men the science of court. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how to dance? You know what I'm saying? Can you hold a conversation? Because, I mean, you can get just about any woman you want with the right communication skills, the right social skills, with the right, you know what I'm saying, knowing how to expose and educate a woman. You don't need all that. But young cats don't know that. Nah, son, you're going to learn how to ballroom. You learn how to ballroom, G, you're never going to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? You learn how to cook, bro, you ain't never gonna have a problem with a young lady. You learn how to hold a conversation, you don't need no cream, bro. All you need is this. Learn how to keep a woman, you know, because a lot of times we had good women, we didn't know how to keep them. We give them the third leg, you know what I'm saying, might take them out, we think that's adequate, you know, but that ain't always adequate. You know, knowing how to keep a woman is also just knowing how to engage them, and we don't often get taught that. So it takes the men to tell you, like, yeah, you know, women love a cat that can dance, You know, women love a cat that can engage in some conversation. You know, we know women love to talk. How many cats can hold a good conversation? You know what I'm saying? We know women love to look at beautiful sights. Well, how many cats can go to a beautiful sight and appreciate it? You know, say, damn, look at the flowers. That's a hydrangea or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I was fortunate enough to have a support system. I had my mother, you know what I'm saying, and bless her heart, I love my mother dearly, man. My mother been there from the beginning of time. You know, I had my wife, you know what I mean, that's dedicated to the process of wanting me to be a better person. Helped me with my decision making. She helped me challenge my anger. She motivated me. Her and my mother is my best critics and, you know, the best support system a person could ask for.
When the lights shut off and I'm gone, would you notice I got notices of unpaid bills just floating in, and I promised my mama when mama left I would never leave her. So I strive for money, so when life get cold, I'll buy the heaters. Remember, I was locked behind bars. Can't forget it, 7 months I sat and waited. But no remission, no birthdays or Christmas. Freedom was on my wish list, even though it wasn't granted. What hurt more was that visit from my mother. I felt like Pop saying farewell. Whoever thought that I would hug her through a jail cell? See, life doesn't stop when you locked. Everyone I thought would remember me, they forgot what I learned. As the world turns, memories are forever. But I can be remembered if God bless my endeavors. Fast forward, Baltimore teachers were warriors. Whoever thought what street you walk would be important. It's life or death, please watch your step. Directions are so distorted, I can't tell right from left.
So I was trying to figure out a way to talk to you about gangs, and then I came across Coppin State University in West Baltimore. This is Coppin State's yard. All the fraternities and sororities showing their colors, flying their flags, showing you who they are, very proud of who they are. But one thing that doesn't go on this yard, beefs. No fights, no murders. They not enemies with each other. Their focus is on school. In fact, look at the grills. They cook out together. They are enjoying their lives while flagging their colors, while they are representing what they stand for. And let me tell you something about frats and sorors. They help one another live a better life. From studying to jobs, anything to improve you. They're not gonna ask you to come fight with them, to strap up with them. This is not what these colors are about. They are about making themselves better, their organization better, and community better. Pick your friends wisely. Pick your friends very carefully, because what your friends do, you will most likely do.
Talk to me about the importance of men stepping up.
If we want to deal with any issue in our neighborhood, it starts with the men of the neighborhood. It starts with the men saying, this is not going to happen in our neighborhood. But you have to have the courage to do it. And you got to have the love for your neighbor to do it. You got to have the love for the community to be able to be that man to step out there and say, look, my neighborhood looks like this. And my neighborhood looks like this, and I live here. We got old people that live here. What can I do to make the neighborhood better? And it starts with the men. The men got to carry the flag, because the women and the children, the elders come behind us. We blaze the way.
That's what men need to do, or so-called men. You ain't raising your child, you ain't a man. Your children end up in prison most of the time, it's mostly our fault. If they end up on drugs, it's mostly our fault. If they end up in bad relationships, it's mostly our fault. Because if you didn't teach them better or show them better, then how would they even know? We just chalk it up as whatever to keep the responsibility off our back. But it's our responsibility.
No matter what you do, you're gonna have to get along with people that you depend on to get your money, to get to the next level. You're gonna have to get along with them long enough to do that. We got dump trucks out here, front load operators. You got the port doing everything. Everybody's dependent on each other. We don't go home together. We don't have phone numbers, but we come to get the job done so we can take care of our family the way we're supposed to take care of our family.
Tell me the difference between living at home and then going to college and everything is on you as far as studying, eating habits, sleeping habits, study habits. Did you have to because when your parents are on you, it's a little bit easier than when you have to do it by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So being at home, it was way easier being at home, being in high school, just deal with everything because I had my parents on my back. I lived with my parents, so they basically told me, like, this needs to be done now. You need this to get off that phone, get off that social media, everything, get to work. But coming to college, like, it's adulthood. You are on your own. It was pretty tough at first. Well, it was tough for me that was my first time being away from my family for that long period of time, from August up until November. That was my first time ever being that far away from my family and for that long. So that was a big burden on me, as long with getting us into the life. So basically trying to deal with everything myself, trying to make sure I stayed up on my studying, homework, and everything, just to make sure I wouldn't fall off, and show my parents and others that I can take on that task of adulthood and take care of my own responsibilities.
Find out how to be comfortable in your own skin. A lot of youngsters, they fear being by themselves. In other words, they fear solitude, because solitude is scary to a lot of people, because you have to face those so-called demons, those so-called thoughts that may not be pretty or may not be acceptable. You have to learn to be by yourself sometimes. And when you learn to be by yourself, you learn that genuine self-expression. Getting in touch with your inner self, finding an outlet and recognizing those men or those elders in general, women as well, that's around you that can teach you. Sometimes we get caught in a situation where we just hang around our peers per se, and they don't know any better than we do, So soaking it up with some elders is real important.
All right, gentlemen, we got one more thing to talk about. That's fatherhood. First thing I want to tell you is, if you're not a father, don't be in no rush to become a father. It's very expensive, and that's all your time. If you can't feed yourself right now, if you can't put a roof over your head right now, then you're not prepared for fatherhood monetarily. So let me tell you the two main ingredients of being a father. One is money, the other is time. Everything else, you just have to figure out as time goes on. But money and time, if you're only doing one, you're a 50% parent. If you're only sending money, you're a 50% parent. If you're only spending time, you're a 50% parent. So you said you were raised in several different households. Tell me how that affected you growing up.
Man, the instability, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went to 5 middle schools. So it's like you don't get used to anything. You're always packing up and moving, packing up and moving.
Tell me how your unstable upbringing influenced how you chose to raise your child.
I definitely didn't want that for her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So what did you have to do to make sure that wasn't going to be for her?
For one, I stayed out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For two, I made sure I always had money. I wasn't prepared, but I got prepared. I went straight up legit. I left the streets alone, went to trucking school when I was 24 years old.
That person is really a blank slate, and everything they know
comes from you first.
Comes from me. It should come from me first.
Right.
It should. Everything that they eat is what I put. So if I'm eating junk, they're going to be eating the junk.
Exactly.
If I'm overweight, they're going to be overweight.
100% of the time.
Yeah. If I'm ripping and running the streets, either she's going to deal with a dude that rip and run the streets, or he's going to think that's manhood, and I'm going to do what daddy do in 10 years. I'm running the streets.
Exactly.
If you nasty all the time, they're going to have a nasty attitude.
Exactly.
If you smiling all day and hugging them all day, that's what they're going to want to do. They're going to want to walk around happy.
I promised myself that I wouldn't be the parent to my child that my parents was to me and my brother. Period.
Now, in my opinion, every parent should think that way. You should always want better for your child than you had, no matter how good or bad you had. It should always be progress.
Exactly.
That's parenthood.
That's parenthood.
Push them forward.
I had to be instrumental in the seed that I planted. Otherwise, I'm less than a man. We buy cars, we pay the payments on them, we pay the insurance, we put gas in it, rims. It's like I'm building this car right here. Why I can't build my child?
Can a child change a man's life?
Yes. My child changed my life.
Okay, let's talk about deadbeat fathers. Some of you may have absent fathers in your life. Let me tell you this. That has nothing to do with you or your journey. You have to just maneuver around that. All that means is you put different men in your life, whether it's a coach, a teacher, an uncle, a big brother. You get those positive men to teach you what your father should have been teaching you. Don't allow anyone else to slow your journey down at all. When we finish, I want to run the credits, but while we're running the credits, I want to have all the places that didn't make the cut just to show everybody where we've been on the journey, on your journey. No beef, no cuffs. Check this out. No beef. I'm not going to ever put my hands on another man unless it's in self-defense. No cuffs. I'm not going to do anything to get myself put in handcuffs. That's for me. Think about that. No beef, no cuffs.